Yo, what's good, everybody? My name is Leo, and this is week 4 of me building my first AI project, which is called Schedule AI. And so, this Schedule AI is about a schedule that is managed using AI. And so, last week, I told you guys that I was going to be starting implementing a new feature, which is the ability to send the AI your schedule from the school that you receive at the beginning of the semester, and then telling the AI, well, I want to transfer it into my online calendar so that eventually, when the calendar becomes, let's say, brighter, well, he's going to see, okay, on this day, well, there's this class, and I can put any event during this class because it's class time. So, yeah, so I'm going to show you guys how I did it, and also I'm going to show you a little demo. Also, I've successfully managed to do a login system using Google, but I'm not gonna show you guys this part because it's pretty much just looking at Google system, login system, and just copy and pasting uh, their like how they want you to do it. So yeah, I'd rather much go on the schedule getting parsed into classes on your calendar part. And yeah, so let me show you the calendar. If you go check on week 3, I've actually made improvements on the design side, and so yeah, I've actually just I sent the my old my old front end. I told the AI, well, can you just make it look better? And since I already got a good structure, well, the AI, it didn't like change anything to the structure. It just applied different styles and everything. And so it's a really nice way to use AI, and it don't mess up everything because sometimes if you try to ask the AI something too big, well, it's gonna mess it up. But if the structure is already there and you just ask him to do something fairly simple, well, as you can see, it's a pretty nice result. Even though it's not the best, it's still pretty good. And so yeah, I'm gonna show you a little demo on the image part. So let me show you first which image we're gonna be trying to parse. So as you can see, it's actually just went online and type class schedule, and so it's a pretty basic schedule. We got math, biology, physics, English, and yeah. So let's see. We're gonna go back inside there. I didn't actually build a place where you can put your actual image inside of the front end, so it's still I can only call it using endpoints like I've talked before. So you have this part here when you use Fast API, where you can actually just call straight up endpoints without having to implement it inside of your front end. And so we're gonna choose the schedule just showed you, and let's see. Now we execute, and I've noticed it takes a lot of time, so I'll have to look up on. Oh well, yeah, but still, it takes a little bit of time, and I will have to check so it can be more efficient eventually. But if I go refresh, boom, there you go. So you have every class being displayed on the right date, and we can also go check on each week, and you can see is the right time also. Like if we go check, so math 101, 7 to 8:30. Let's go check the actual image, and as you can see, um, well, oh, you see there, it actually starts at 7:20 ish. So yeah, maybe the actual the class schedule image wasn't that good because even myself I'm confused. But yeah, you can see it ends at 8:30. Yeah, still there's room for improvement for sure, but you get the point. And so let me go back to the yeah. So there you go. This is pretty cool. And also, we can now delete class, and by deleting a class, it actually removes the entire class. because what's the point of removing 1 day of class if it's recurrent? And yeah, so let me get into the coding part right there. So everything starts at the main.py file, pretty much like always. And so we're gonna go to, sorry guys. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so here we have the endpoint parse schedule image, which we use using the fast API endpoint tester, let's say. So here you have your parse schedule image, which is then linked to a function called parse schedule image. And so if you remember right, when this endpoint gets posed, well, it actually let's say automatically uh, call the function. And so here we have your parse schedule function, blah blah blah. We say, well, in this function, we want to upload a file, so that's the part of you're uploading the file. And then let's go see the actual real function, because it's returning a function from the file AI schedule parser. So it's saying, okay, well, return in AI schedule parser the function parse schedule image with the actual image we upload. And so here we have the AI schedule parser. We have your imports and everything, your OpenAI key to actually use an AI, because this is in fact an AI doing the job there. And so let's go at the start of the function. Here we have actually the image being encoded, decoded, sorry, because if the AI don't really understand the image, like they don't see the image literally, like they cannot see it. So you gotta use the encoding of the image, like, because we have to transfer the image from like an image. From what I've understand online is that you take an image and then you transfer it to like a sort of a code that the AI can actually understand, which is base 64, yeah. So that's what I've understand. It might be wrong, but yeah, still. And so after that, we call the OpenAI um, with GPT 4.0. And here, as you can see, we have our role for the system, so the actual LLM or AI. And we tell him a prompt, which is your helpful assistant that extracts class schedule information from images, return only valid JSON, no other text. So we give him instruction on what the user is going to send. So it's like, here's your way to act, and then I'm going to send you a message and use that way to act. And so here's the actual user message, which is extract class schedules from this image, return only a JSON array like, and then we give him an example on what we want him to do. So basically we have your way to act, and then you tell him what to do. So it uses the way to act and the what to do, and we have to send him the actual image code, like we said earlier, the base 64. And yeah, so it takes all that data, then it returns us with a response, and that response is pretty much, I don't know if we can see it right there. Let me check. Yeah, right there. Okay. So if you look at my terminal right now, where I'm hovering my mouse, well, there you have every single class, like we saw there, the user prompt. You see name, math, day. We have the same thing here in the terminal, which is exactly what we want. Because with that parsed data, then we can use that parsed data to actually create events, or not events now, but classes. But it's the same principle, because at the end it's just an event in the calendar. And so here we had a little It's because sometimes the AI it give us it just adds some text from what I've understand, and so you gotta sort of replace or remove a certain part of the text to only get actual the actual only JSON part. And so after that, you can see we have parse data here, and we say JSON.loads raw content. So this takes this part right there and it changes it to actual JSON content. So after that, we call a function called create class from parse. And so the create class from parse is just underneath it. So here we have some error handling. It's always a good thing to have those because if you don't have those, well, it can throw an error and you're like, what the hell is that? And so having that, well, you know what error it is. And so, yeah, it's just better. And here you have your create class from parsed that we have there. So it's taking that here, giving the parse data, the database, and then it's saying for class data in parse data. So a for loop is basically you go inside of an array, and if we can see in the terminal, let's say we have I think 8 event right there. So let's say class data here, each time it's gonna iterate through parse data. So if you have a list of 8, let's say 1 to 8, and so for class data, this class data there is gonna be assigned, like at the start it's gonna be assigned 1, and then it do like, if for example that was print class data, then it would print 1, and then after it would do 2 because it's going step by step towards 8. So yeah, that's you can check online if you don't understand, but that's pretty much what it does. And so by doing that, instead of sending like 8 things at 8 classes at the same time to be created, well, we say let's do one class per class, one class at a time. Sorry. And so yeah, it's way better like that. And so here, create class template from parse, and so this is the function just underneath that. And so we pass the class data, which is only a line like that. And so after that, it's the same principle as um, adding your event. Well, it's a little bit more complicated because now you have to actually you have to create an event, and that it can be, you have to create a class, sorry, that can be replicated multiple times during a month. And instead of like you could say, oh well, I'm gonna create like 54 classes, events, but then it just like, okay, but you have 54 events of classes, and it's not a good way to handle it. And so I much rather create we call it a template, and we say, okay, well, I have 8 classes in total on Monday, Tuesday, etc. And so the template, well, it gets called to create each little class, but it's not creating actual class. So we just use it. It's sort of like a class. So we just use the template of the classes. It's a lot of class, but I think you understand what I'm saying right there. And so yeah, so the next step is just actually adding the template inside of the database with the day of the week, start time, end time, which was giving there. And so then you add it to the database, and let me show you guys what it looks like. Class templates, here you go. So math one. So you have, yeah, 8 classes, 8 template classes that you can eventually reuse to make a real schedule. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for this week. And yeah, I think it's pretty nice feature to only go forward using that, because that unlocks so much thing to do after because now we can say these classes, well, you cannot touch those. So you got to create an entire schedule, not interfering with those classes. And so next week, my goal is to actually create this sort of I've talked about like a brain inside of your schedule. Well, I want to actually implement the a thinking AI, so that it actually thinks and plan on what to do for a certain problem. Let's say, for example, yeah, well, I have to add 3 lessons this week, but I have classes, and also I have soccer practice and everything, and then the AI would just fetch all of those current events or classes and say, well, okay, at those moments we cannot put uh, Leo's lesson there, so I have to find free time spots where I can actually put those lesson time. And yeah, so this will actually be a really nice feature, and yeah, we're on the good way to make a working project. And so this was it for this week, and thank you guys for listening to this, and yeah, have a good day.